All right. So you see the green dot up there?
Mm-hmm.
The green dot means it's recording. So what do you want to say to the class?
Hello. This is my dad here, as you can see.
That's all you want to say?
Hi. Hello. Have a good day.
No stories to tell? You guys don't have any stories?
No, I never have stories to tell.
Nah, dude.
Unlike you.
Say something like intelligent or something.
Map.
Yeah, it sounds like you have like a minion IQ of like 3.
Map.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't listen to that brainhead.
It says Ariel.
Well, unbrainhead.
Oh, you don't need that.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. That's it.
Well, I don't know what else to say.
You can't say hi or something.
Well, I just said hi, but
How about in Spanish?
I got a Holy Bible.
you don't need to say that, dude.
Hola.
That's good.
She.
Don't you wish they were talking back at you or no?
Yes, I do.
True.
True. That would be good.
Talk back.
They can.
Do you want to play your guitar? You want to play your drums or no?
I like playing guitar.
You don't want to play your guitar?
Hmm?
Okay.
Can I punch you in the glasses?
All right.
Can I punch you in the face?
All right, guys. How about you say adios so I can start class?
Bye.
Adios.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
All right, class. I hope you had your little entertainment there. Let's hit chapter 20. Let's get this puppy wrapped up. Funny thing is the last 2 chapters of the semester, Social Media 3, Chapter 20, Personal Selling and Sales Management, seems a little odd, but these happen to be 2 of my specialties. And if you want to be tortured more by Dr. Dano, I am offering electives in both of these subjects where we do nothing but Chapter 20 for a whole semester, or nothing but social media for a whole semester. I don't know. Something to think about. So, the chapter split into 2. It's split into the personal selling side, and it's split into the sales management side. The personal selling side is about the salesperson and what they do, and the sales management is the management of a sales force. So, what does a salesperson do? They generate and qualify leads, and leads is a very good keyword, hint, hint, suggestion, something that you should be familiar with. I'll leave it at that. Leads are someone who could potentially become a client. We do pre-approach, then we create a sales presentation and overcome any kind of reservations. We'll get to all that. We close, and then we do follow-up. Now, the next set of slides is going to go into more detail on all these. So how do we find leads? Well, current customers are a great way to find leads. Current customers are customers who already buy product A from us. Well, maybe they could buy product B from us as well. You know, you already have a relationship with these customers. You know, I'm a big fan of using current customers. You could go to networking events where it's like a conference or something along those lines. Trade shows could be also considered a conference, but these tend to be more about products and services and selling along those lines. This is more educational in nature, more of a university setting or a seminar setting. And yes, we always have LinkedIn. We could do some Google searches, and we can find potential leads if we do some digging. Pre-approach. Pre-approach has a funny kind of a name, but all it is preparation. So you're not a salesperson yet, but you could be pre-approaching your upcoming exam next week. Now you know what I'm talking about. So pre-approach, you find a lead, but a lead is not a prospect. A qualified lead is therefore a prospect. And a qualified lead is someone that has the money to buy, the interest to buy, the authority to buy. But in that pre-approach, you do qualifying. And then we also set goals for what should or should not be accomplished with this particular meeting or something along those lines. Finally, if we get past a situation where someone is qualified, they do have the money or the interest or the desire to buy, well then we will create a sales presentation tailored specifically to their needs. Not a generic presentation, a very, very specific presentation just about that particular brand, company, or scenario. Now, the chapter calls this handling reservations. The proper way to say this is objections. Objections always come up. We spend 2 or 3 classes over dealing with objections, types of objections, how to overcome objections. It's a very large part of being a salesperson because you tend to get a lot of objections or reservations, whatever you want to call them. And finally, we close. Closing is asking for business. You know, it tends to be one of the most stressful parts of the entire sales process because you don't know whether they're going to buy or not. Hopefully you have enough verbal and nonverbal signals to see if they're going to buy or not. But most of the time you don't really know. So you ask for the order, and maybe you don't get the order that day, but the important thing is to never burn a bridge. Because if you get a no one day and you burn the bridge, let me go back. Then you don't set a foundation for a yes in a future day. So I'm not a big fan of burning bridges. No is no, don't get upset. Don't, throw a tantrum. Don't be unprofessional. You're developing a relationship, and maybe the relationship is not a buy now, but it could be a buy in the future. Finally, we have step 5. Good salespeople do lots of follow-up. Follow-up is a very big deal. We remember our services chapter, which was 13. We talked about service quality. These are the 5 dimensions of service quality. Well, follow-up is part of that service and making sure that you do deliver upon what you know. This is after they agree to buy, by the way. So the latter half of the chapter, we're talking about managing the sales force. So when we talk about managing a sales force, there's a number of buckets or areas that we have to talk about. How the sales force is structured, recruiting and selecting salespeople. Sales training is something that a sales manager would do. Motivating and compensating salespeople. And then finally, salespeople evaluation. So when we talk about structure, we have to say, well, do we have an inside sales force, meaning all the salespeople are employees of the firm? Or do we have an outside sales force, meaning there are firms that sell our products, but they are independent of the company? This is very, very common, by the way, where the company makes the product, but they don't have, they might be a $300 or $400 million company, but there's only 3 or 5 or 6 salespeople in the entire company. We're talking about a $400 million firm. But what the firm does is they create contracts with other companies, and those other companies are actually the salespeople. They tend to be smaller firms. They're not employees. They tend to be in new markets where maybe this company is not. It's very... You also, when we talk about sales force structure, we can talk about inside and outside. We can talk about how the sales force is created. I mean, do you have East Coast representatives, West Coast representatives? Are you organized by product line and by geography, or just by product line and not by geography, or just geography? These are all sales force structure issues. So some various duties that a salesperson does. Order getter, order taker, or sales support. An order getter is you are a salesperson and you go out and find business. Very simple. This is what a large majority of salespeople do. An order taker is when people would either call in, or you're in kind of a retail environment, which is what we're having right here, and business comes to you. Finally, we have sales support. And what happens is a lot of times, if we think of the sales process, that's service and follow-up. With some products and services, it's very technical product, a very complicated product. So after the contract gets sold, there's a lot of sales support inside of the firm to help troubleshoot, set up, train, and do things along those lines. So when we're talking about recruiting and selecting salespeople, there tend to be some personality traits that we're looking for. We're looking for a more optimistic type personality, someone who is resilient, someone who has a little more optimism, someone who can self-motivated. A lot of these salespeople work out of their home. They work by themselves. This is the big one here. Empathy. Good salespeople are very empathetic. They listen. They can see things from the perspective of the potential customer. Those are really, if you know someone who's very empathetic, they could be a good salesperson. Sales training. When we talk about this bucket of sales training, well, there's a number of areas within sales training we can look at. We can talk about selling and negotiation techniques. We could talk about products and service knowledge to make sure that the salespeople are very up to speed with regards to products and services. But more than anything else, when new products come along, the salespeople need to be educated on these new products or services. A lot of time when we have new technologies coming in, we're using a new CRM system, we're using new sales ordering system, a new inventory check system. Well, these technologies, we need to train the salespeople. Time and territory management. We do not want to be wasteful. So a lot of times, salespeople need training, tips, education on how to manage their time or how to manage their territory so they're not inefficient. And then there's always training on company policy, rules, procedures, and those kind of things. One of the things I do want to stress is when we think about salespeople, this is the easy one to think about. Financial rewards. Financial rewards are things that directly lead to something in the paycheck. Bonus, commissions, salary increases. These are financial rewards. There are also non-financial rewards. Non-financial rewards are recognition, employee of the month. These are non-financial rewards. And good sales managers know you need a balance of both. Some people might be young people might be very, very much into the financial rewards. More established salespeople that maybe are more comfortable in life and with their clients, they may be looking for non-financial rewards. There's also another category that they're called non-financial rewards, but they tend to have an indirect financial benefit. So if we talk about getting a car, for instance, well, a car is not a financial reward, but if the company gives you the car, that means that's that much out of your paycheck that you don't have to pay for gas, repairs, or a car payment. I mean, you could be saving anywhere from $400 to $600 or $800 a month by not having to deal with a car. $200 in gas, a $400 car payment, plus various repairs here and there. That's a nice non-financial reward. Also, a non-financial reward could be a trip, like you're a salesperson of the month and they give your family a cruise. Well, that's technically a non-financial reward, but man, can you imagine getting a cruise and then you don't have to spend any of your own income to pay for a vacation? Kind of great. This is what sales managers spend a lot of their time doing, evaluating salespeople, because salespeople need to be on top of their game. They can't be slackers. Salespeople are the revenue-generating force for the firm. Without the salespeople, there's no revenue. Without any revenue, there's no firm. So you can't let salespeople go figure it out themselves. If a salesperson's not doing well, they're on a very short leash. They're going to be asked to leave. There's lots of legal and ethical issues with regards to personal selling. From the salesperson and the customer relationship to policies with the corporation and the sales force, and then also the manager and the sales force. One that I want to stress more importantly than anything else is an ethical issue, It's called selling pressure. There are some salespeople that apply a lot of pressure and make you uncomfortable. And the uncomfortableness, since you're uncomfortable, you want out of the situation. And sometimes the salesperson is so pushy that the easiest way to get out of this scenario is to just agree and buy so you can get out of it. And the salesperson unethically does that on purpose. And they do that just to earn the sale and not develop a relationship with the customer. Telemarketers do this. The way they structure the sales call, they kind of box you into a set of reasoning or logic or get you to repeat a couple things, and then you almost feel like you have to buy because of what you just said. To me, that's very unethical. So, oh wow, what just happened there? To wrap up the chapter, I want to talk about two different things. First of all, sales jobs are a very good career. Sales jobs tend to pay better than other jobs coming out of undergrad. You tend to have more opportunities. There's more sales jobs out than probably any other job. So the thing is you can't just take any sales job, because there are a lot of sales jobs out there, and there's a lot of really bad sales jobs out there. So let's talk about some of the things that can differentiate so you can see the difference between what a good sales job would have and a bad sales job would have. Here's red flag number 1. They're selling you and not the job. So in other words, the whole time that you're talking to this potential person about a job, all they're doing is talking about you and your characteristics. I call this selling the dream. Oh, you want to work your own hours? You want to make 6 figures on your own time? You want to not have a boss that's looking over your shoulder all the time? Wait a minute. They're selling you. They're not telling you anything about the job, what's the company name, what you're selling, who you're selling to, none of that. Anytime you're in a situation and they're talking about selling the dream and selling you more than anything else, if they're starting with that, it's a red flag immediately. Red flag immediately. Bad sales job. Pay. What's the compensation structure? Bad sales jobs are 100% commission. You only get paid if you sell. That is a bad sale. Almost 9.5 out of 10 times, those are bad sales jobs. Good sales jobs have a base pay that's somewhere north of 50% of your total compensation package. You have a base pay and you have some commissions you can earn. Pharmaceutical sales jobs, the base pay is somewhere between 60 and 80%. And then you have some ability to earn bonuses or, special zingers here and there to make more money. But still, there's a base pay there. And firms that have a base pay care more about their employees. They care more about you spending the time developing relationships with the customers. The firms that pay 100% commission, they just want you to sell. They want you to be a shark. They want you to say or do anything to create a sale. Firms that have a base pay with some bonus or commission on top of it, those firms care more about the job, you, the customer. They're more professional. Here's another one. Where do the leads come from? If you're selling to only friends and family, red flag. If you go to a sales job and they don't provide you with any leads, red flag. If you do not get an existing client base, that's a big problem. So good sales jobs, you'll get a territory, you'll have a certain number of existing clients that are already clients. Your goal is to serve the existing clients and then hopefully find a couple additional clients. If 60 or 70 or 80% of your expectations is managing existing client base, that's a good sales job. If you get a sales job, oh, you know what I forgot here? I forgot one. Let me do this. Here. Yep. 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 Now I sound like my son. Okay. Leads. This is another difference between a good and a bad sales job. Stupid. The CRM philosophy. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management Philosophy. And this relates to here. This is the second main thing I wanted to make sure I got to you guys. Firms that have this philosophy, which is really something relatively new when it comes to sales jobs, maybe the last 15, 20 years on the high side, but particularly the last 10 to 15 years. Firms that care more about holding on to their existing customers than going out and finding new customers all the time. Firms that want to sell more to existing customers and always go out and try to find new customers. This is the customer relationship management philosophy. Firms that have this kind of language or this kind of a thing, this kind of a philosophy, these are good sales jobs. You know, as opposed to sell, always be selling. The last thing is training. Good sales jobs, train. Good sales jobs have lots of training. Good sales jobs could do anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 months of training. Bad sales jobs might give you 2 weeks. Maybe you get to follow a salesperson around in a car for a while, but then you're basically on your own. The more training, the better the sales job. The least amount of training, the worse the sales job. I just don't want you to think that selling is telemarketing and selling is, car sales. There is lots of sales jobs out there. A lot of them are very, very good. A lot of them you could earn 50, 60, 70 grand coming out of undergrad with bonus and commissions. And it's really something, a lot of times if we look at the Fortune 500, the CEO, because of the CRM philosophy in the past 10 to 15 years, the CEO of many, many Fortune 500 firms comes directly out of sales. Why? Because these are the people that develop the relationship with the customers. Who knows the customer base better? The salespeople who had the CRM philosophy. They're the ones that were in charge of generating revenue for the firm. They're the ones who know the customers inside and out. They're probably the best ones to be the CEO. We can look at GE, we can look at Xerox, we can look at Yahoo, we can look at HP, we can go through firm after firm after firm, and the CEO is coming out of sales. It's very common to go from a sales job and into the marketing department because, again, who has a better feel for what it's like out in the firm? The other thing, even though I mentioned retailing, and I technically call retailing sales jobs, inside sales jobs or order taker kind of sales jobs. Most B2B, you are in sales because that's the way the revenue is generated. And all my accounting and finance majors, you might come out of undergrad and do your auditing and this, that, or the other thing for 4 to 5 years. And then you get promoted and you become an account manager or something along the lines. And guess what? Then you're in sales too. It could happen. It's not a bad thing. Just get a good sales job and not a bad sales job. Okay? Thank you very much. We'll talk more about this on Tuesday.